Welcome back to the Artefactors Union, and I'm your host, Douglas Scoundrels. We are working on another intentionally painful box. One of the last ones I haven't done. The Coryphee Duet. Specifically the Nightmare Coryphee Duet. The regular Coryphee Duet is difficult, but not nearly as bad as this. This one, don't have a box for, no artwork. And even the cards that came with are from the second edition, so the artwork's pretty small. They are effectively two weapon-wielding mannequins being held aloft by flying monkeys with just some ribbons, it looks like. Fiddly bits, small pieces, and a relatively complex build, but we can do it. You just have to believe in me. Though this is technically to Coryphee, or can be the Duet, I'm going to make the Duet, so I only have to use one base, so I only have to do one review, and it should be a little bit easier to ship out on that 50mm. So, the nice thing, at least, is that they are divided right along here, this one being the first one we're going to work on, the sword mannequin, and then over here, the hammer mallet mannequin. So, we'll go ahead and assemble the mannequin first, and then the flying monkey second, and then we'll just combine the two. So our mannequin is split up into a few pieces. Here is our main body. We will also have an arm here with the sword, an arm without the sword, then the leg, and then this piece of ribbon, and that is all of him. As far as the flying monkey, this is the body. We'll go ahead and add the leg here. One arm, one wing, two wing, bottom of the head, and the face. And then we'll combine those two. So we're going to start with this piece first, and the left arm, which holds the sword, followed by the right arm without the sword. Here's our body, and ignore the cement. I went through this whole thing where I thought possibly you needed to put the monkey with the ribbon on before the arm would go on, but actually, the connection point is right here, not back here on this sort of ball joint. So this is where we're going to put the sword arm. I could not see any part of the connection point that really told you how the rotation of the arm is going to be, and it can rotate pretty far in every direction. But I think if you look at it straight on and from the side, and picture in your head the idea of someone threatening you with a sword, it's going to look real weird if it's jutting out that way. Possibly you could bend it more this way, but I'm happy with this. And as you can see, the connection point looks pretty good. So I'm going to call it good. It kind of matches the render and the instructions, at least. So we'll go ahead and move on to the right arm, which is in here. There is our left arm. Kind of holding it way out in the air, but if you look at old duels, or Hollywood's idea of sword duels, you kind of have this arm out here for either flare or to keep it from getting stabbed. I don't know. It matches, again, the render I found, and went into the socket just fine. So just keep on moving. If you mess with it too much, it's just going to be worse. So get it close is all I really think you need to do. Let's look at what's next. We have the extra leg here. And then the cloth, ribbon, whatever, will connect the two that are dangling off of him, which will be what the model is actually sitting on the base with. After that, we can add the body of the flying monkey, which is not on the sprue anymore because I clipped it out. Our leg is going to go right there. There's our leg, and it was partially incorrect on the cloth ribbon thing. It will connect here on this one, but not to this one. It's actually going to go up and across effectively the butt of the mannequin and glue to this part right here. So definitely need to do the leg first. So let's get that ribbon done. Okay, had to do a bit of dancing around with this one, but I wouldn't call it hard necessarily. First up, right here is the most important thing you want to get even, so I would make sure it's attached here first. Then as far as the connection point here, for some reason, the detail continues underneath the bottom of the model, despite this never being anything anyone will ever see. So this is our connection point right here, and I did not try to perfect it because no one's going to see it. And if I nudged this too much, then this gets out of place. And while I was able to like work both into a fairly reasonable position, this is the one I cared less about getting perfect. So as you can see, that's really good, and this looks fine from the angles that actually matter. All right, now we can work on a monkey. Okay, strategy for the ape. We already cut out the body. We'll do the right leg, which this bit of cloth connects to the one that is in the left foot, followed by the left arm, which is holding onto the cloth that connects to the right foot, and then the right arm, which holds onto this end of the cloth in the left hand. Mildly confusing, but we'll just do it in order. Then we'll do the wings, combine the two halves of the head, and add the head on, and then glue the monkey to the mannequin. And it makes me wince every time I call it a monkey, because it is very obviously some kind of ape, but Wizard of Oz, which I think also were monkeys. These are just apes. Anyways, body. Left leg goes right here. The ribbon attaches like right there. There's our foot. Let's look at the seams real quick. Also note where the ribbon on the foot touches the other foot. I'm not sure why my camera does not want to focus very well, but like right there, sort of in the going through the thumb and forefinger of the fist of the foot, maybe. Okay, let's add our left arm now. It should connect to the ribbon in the right foot. There we go. And I noticed with these last two bits, I was afraid that I was going to have to nudge them after I got them seated correctly into the right spot so that the ribbon would be aligned. But actually, when I put the shoulder in, then it just pretty much ended up exactly where it is now. Same thing with the right leg. So hooray for that. Now, hopefully that'll be the same with the right arm. Okay. Okay, there we go. Effectively the same thing. Once you get that seated in correctly with a very thin seam, the ribbon just kind of sits in the place it's supposed to, more or less. Let's quickly do the wings on the back and then the head. Our right wing is going to be this one. Our left wing is going to be this one. Then we'll add these two bits, which equal the head, and we'll plop that down on the body. Let's do our right wing first. Goes in easy. Now the left wing. That's left wing, also just fine and dandy. Let's do the two halves overhead. Bottom half plus the top half. There we go. Now I'll add that onto the body. Note that the chin will sit on this curved part of the collar. He's green. Okay, our ribbons got the two connection points you see on the end there. One with a tooth and one without. That will correspond to the tooth part going right here in the armpits, and the not tooth part goes the inner thigh of the left leg. Okay, that was mildly difficult because they didn't seem to want to cooperate, and getting one to fit in as flush and good as possible would kind of knock the other one out. Something similar to the bottom part here. However, I managed to get to a point where I could just hold it in with my thumb here and use the tweezers to hold this one in here, and eventually cured enough that I'm going to call that pretty good. Too much fiddling will probably make it worse. We're done with our first Coryphee. Hell, we'll just do a quick review. The hardest part was this arm getting it kind of sorted, followed by these two connections being a bit of a pain. But overall, this thing was not nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be. Let's work on the other one now. Alright, planning for the second Coryphee is going to be almost the exact same as the first one. We'll grab the body of the mannequin. We'll do the mallet arm first, and then the arm holding the rest of the mallet handle, I guess. So, right arm and then left arm, followed by the leg. And that's actually just it for his bits. we'll go ahead and then clip out the body of the flying monkey. We'll do the monkey leg, similar situation as last time. However, I think this one doesn't actually connect to the right leg that's on the body. After that, we will do the right arm, which is connected to the cloth held in the right leg. Right arm being, oh goodness, I'm losing my ability to see. This being the right arm. And then the left arm. Do both the wings and the head. Where's the other half of it? Oh goodness, I'm blind. Well, wherever there it is. Once that's all together, the monkey should be done. Then we can glue the monkey to the mannequin. Okay, so that's a lot of blathering to say we're going to start with this guy. Follow me, this guy, and then the leg, this guy. Here's our body and our right arm with the mallet. Gonna go right in the socket. Looks pretty good and very solid of a connection once you actually push it all the way in there. Now let's go ahead and do the left arm, which is holding the handle of the mallet. One thing to notice is the mallet handle is split in half. You see the sort of hard right angle. So that'll make it easier to connect to the left arm. Left arm will go over the top of this ribbon bit as well. He's gonna bonk you. Looks pretty good. Alright, now let's add our leg right on this lovely gap. The ribbon that is attached to the leg will also connect right here. Okay. And looking at our connection point on the bottom. Again, detail that's never going to be seen. This one was easier than the previous model, though, however. Mannequin's done. Let's move on to the flying monkey. Okay, let's just do order. Body first, followed by the left leg. The right arm, which is this one. The left arm, which is this one. Right wing, left wing. Combine the two bits of the head and add that on top. And then, of course, add them to the mannequin. Body first, now the left leg. Apparently it connects to the other foot. Whoops. I'm not really going to complain about that. It just didn't look like that in the instructions. So let's move on to the right arm. Excuse me. Yep, that ends up connecting to the left leg. Had to put a bit of pressure on it to get it to go down, otherwise it was sitting more on top than inside the close of the fist. Anyways, now we can do our left arm, which should connect to the right arm. There's our right arm. Had a bit of a difficult with this one, and then I realized that I need to push it more towards the back because there was a bit more of a gap, and that would make the ribbon go into the hand where it's supposed to. So that might be the advice you need for that connection. Now we'll go and do our right arm, right wing. Blah. Easy peasy. Now the left wing. There's that. Now let's look at the two pieces of our head. Bottom half of the head plus the top part of the head. See this nice ridge? It says connection point. There is a nice ridge on the next stump too. Wednesday, move please. There's our monkey head. Now let's combine the two. So the long ribbon on the monkey is going to fit right here underneath the chest. And this part will pretty much attach to the left foot, sorry, the right foot, where this ribbon already connects. Alright, let's do it. Oh yeah, slightly difficult doing that, but it looks good, and honestly, probably more solid than the previous one. My bit of advice for this is that it's going to be really hard to press this in to where it needs to go, especially since we put the arm there, which may have been a mistake to begin with. However, once it's partially like melted and it can kind of stick in there without immediately falling off, you can press into it pretty hard and it will just sort of slurp into there and end up being pretty solid. So yeah, our second Coryphee is done. Now let's put them both on a base. Nightmare Coryphee 1, Nightmare Coryphee 2, and Nightmare Coryphee Duet are done. Lots of small pieces, but nothing that's super duper small that Malifaux is sometimes known for, as well as semi-difficult connections and ways to assemble that aren't as difficult as I was assuming. Honestly, I was expecting this to be an absolute, well, nightmare, but it's not. And getting them onto a 50mm base is interesting, and I'm pretty sure that's not how they're supposed to go next to each other or thread through each other, but they'll be easy enough to chip off, especially the way I did the glue. Anyways, hardest parts. Connecting the monkeys to the bodies was fairly difficult for both of them. The left arm on the sword mannequin wasn't terribly easy, as well as the left arm on the second monkey, the one that's holding up the mallet mannequin. Those are still doable. Yeah, I'm still really surprised at how easier than expected this went. So, I have been your foreman, Douglas Scoundrels, helping you build a better Malifaux. Enjoy your terribly complicated models.